Welcome to the Radical Audacity Podcast. I'm Tiffany Kane, your host. On this podcast, you are going to meet people that walk their own path, live life on their own terms, let go of other people's rules and expectations and the shoulds in life, and instead live life in their own truth, integrity, and authenticity. This podcast will give you the inspiration you need to live your own radically audacious life. Enjoy the episode. Hello, amazing podcast audience. I am here today to talk to you about something really exciting that's going on in my world. I am actually putting on my own summit. Now, this summit is happening at a really incredible time because it's also happening right around the same time that I have a TED Talk. Yes, I got a TED Talk, and it's happening right around the same time that my partner and I were able to get this incredible partnership with a company called Hindenburg Audio, which is a recording and editing platform, and we're going to be the official training company for them. So there's a lot of really exciting things happening in my world that are all happening at exactly the same time. And so thank you, universe, for this abundance of amazingness. Today, I want to talk about the summit and why I came up with this idea, what inspired me to create a summit. Here's what really gets me about the time that we're living in. As a woman, we are living in an unprecedented time. We are living in a time when so many of us have the ability to get our voices out and to have our voices be heard, uncensored, through a podcast, through a YouTube channel, through a TED Talk, through our writing, even on our social media channels, you name it, we're able to get our information out. And yet at the same time, there are so many women in parts of the world that are not able to get their voices out and are fighting valiant fights for their rights and to be able to speak. You probably have heard about the awful death of an Iranian woman named Mahsa Amini, and she was killed for not wearing her hijab correctly. And now the women of that country are protesting and trying so hard to make their voices be heard. But that country has closed down the internet, and it is extraordinarily difficult for people to get their messages out and to say, we want equal rights, we want to be heard. So to me, this makes it especially poignant for those of us that do have the ability for our voices to be heard, to actually do it, to raise the volume of our voice and have our messages get out there. You know, throughout history, and not very long ago in history, women couldn't even have our own checking accounts. We had to have a male relative, usually our spouse, maybe a brother, a father, be a co-signer on a checking account for us here in the United States. Women still cannot make choices about much of our reproductive care if we are married without our spouse's approval. It's so interesting to me how not very long ago, women artists had to put their art out under a pseudonym or use their male counterparts' artwork. Women authors would have to use a male pseudonym or put their work out under some other man and his work and have their work folded into that. Women just did not have the ability to be heard the way we have now. And I think it's our duty and our privilege and our right to actually do the thing, to raise the volume on our voice, to take up space, to say, yes, we are women and we deserve to be heard. We will be heard. And here are the issues that are important to us as women. And it can be anything from flexible work hours so that we can be loving, involved parents while also having an active, engaged, fulfilling professional life. Perhaps it's healthcare. We as women know how vital healthcare is and how important it is for ourselves and for our children and for our families. And we can make changes about this. Our reproductive care and our reproductive rights. Maybe it's political issues. Oh my goodness, there are so many parts of politics where we need more female voices and female identifying voices. We live in a time where people's gender identities can be more fluid, and we need to hear more of those voices. What is life like when you're more fluid, or when your gender identity is different from what you were given at birth? We need to hear these voices and these stories. We need to hear the things that women are concerned about and care about. Women are amazing at creating community and connection. We have so many abilities to create ways of working together that are revolutionary, that change the world. And it is our time to do this. And so that's my summit. My summit is called Raise Your Volume. And the purpose of Raise Your Volume is to encourage everyone who attends the summit to feel the confidence in becoming leaders themselves. We're going to talk about things like the myth of the imposter syndrome. And oh my goodness, there is so much research that has come out recently about how imposter syndrome is a myth put on to women to make us feel like we are less than. We are going to talk about the fear of failure and how every single person has these fears and how we can actually use that to fuel us and fuel our voices. We are going to dive into having courage and raising our leadership abilities. There's so many things that we are going to explore and discover in ourselves. And I've got to tell you, I have an incredible lineup of women leaders that are going to be so inspiring to you. I'll talk to you about them in just a second. You're going to be blown away by who's speaking at this conference, at this summit. The summit is also a fundraiser for a charity that I started. And yes, I just got the approval from the state of California for my nonprofit. And I'm so excited about it. That's step one. There's like 15 steps to finalizing the nonprofit, but it's there. It's on its way. My nonprofit is called RYVA, R-Y-V-A, Raise Your Voice Academy. And the goal is to help more women get into the podcasting space. And for many women, finances keep them out. Maybe they need to buy a computer, or they need to buy equipment, or they need to be trained, or they need to pay for their podcast host. And so this charity is going to give women and female identifying people grants to get that going, and specifically focusing on underrepresented communities and voices that are not currently being heard in the podcasting world. So I'm really excited about that. And so this is my first fundraiser for it. So yes, there is a small fee to attend this summit. It's very small. It's $27. And all of that money will go towards the charity and helping women's voices be heard. So very excited about that. I told you there's incredible, exciting things happening right now. All right, so let me tell you about the women that are speaking at this conference. Our keynote speaker is Brianne Davis. Brianne Davis is an incredible human being. She is a longtime actress. She's been acting for many years. She's a director. She's an author. She is an activist for sex and love addiction. You've probably read her book, Secrets of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. And she is prolific with getting her message out and sharing it with the world. She has a podcast called Secret Life. And her big giant mission is to smash the hold that shame has on us. And she definitely believes that by talking about those things that we feel shame about, we're able to release those feelings of shame and heal and step into our role as the powerful women that we are. You are going to absolutely love her talk. She's talking about the secret life of naked confidence. I love it. Oh my goodness. You're going to love her too. Jessica Vernon, who is an OBGYN, she's having a baby in this next week, and she's still showing up at the summit and speaking at the summit. She is incredible. She's been on Good Morning America. She is an advocate for mothers after postpartum, of taking care of mothers after they have the baby, which is just so beautiful and so important. So she's done a ton of work around that area, and she has been visible, and she is getting her voice out. She's currently working on getting a book published, working on a TED Talk. She's a phenomenal person. So she's going to be speaking. Laura Friedman Williams, who is an author. She's been on my podcast. She is a phenomenal woman that is all about owning yourself, owning your sexuality, owning who you are as a woman. She has such a powerful message. Janine Durso, Kill the Unicorns podcast. She is a life coach, all about how we as women need to stop chasing the quote unquote unicorns, those I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if, and learn how to be happy now. And she's really going to help us pass over that fear of failure and that imposter syndrome myth. My beautiful friend, Megan Champion, who is a podcaster and has a community of women that she supports, mothers of neurodiverse children. She has a giant, thriving community. She is an incredible human being who is absolutely making a difference in the world for mothers with these special needs children. Tara McMullen, who is a podcaster and an author. She is someone I admire and respect greatly. She's a business owner and an entrepreneur. She's going to be speaking to us. Coach Tulin, who is she's a fitness coach, but she's really about looking at your body and your fitness in a different way and really owning who you are and having your health really be this mental aspect of not dieting, not working out, but really getting into who you are as a woman and taking ownership of your health. And she does this as a plus size woman and really loving herself and her body through all of that. She's such an incredible, inspiring person. Melanie Benson. Oh my goodness. I got to speak with Melanie at the Podfest Expo. I was on the Women in Podcasting panel with her. She is so phenomenal. She's all about amplifying your message, amplifying your voice, getting out there as a female entrepreneur, being somebody that creates influence in the world, you are going to love her. Dr. Kathy Zhang, who is a palliative care physician and a podcaster, her message is so beautiful. Palliative care is when people are really at the end of their life, and she takes care of people there at the end of their life. And she has so many lessons and messages that she has learned about living now and having a purpose-filled life right now, so that when you're at the end of your life, you don't have regrets. You are going to love her message. And rounding out the beautiful speakers is Dr. Liz Aguirre. Dr. Liz I met her in my TED Talk community. She's a podcaster. She's a doctor. She's giving 2 TED Talks. She is phenomenal. Her story of going from being a young, homeless little girl to now she is a physician and giving TED Talks and podcasting. She's so inspiring, and you are going to love hearing her message. So I hope this summit sounds interesting to you. If it does, and I really hope it does, check out the show notes for the link to sign up for the summit. There is a $27 fee. And like I said, the $27 fee will all go to charity. This is a fundraising event so that I can give grants to people to get their voice heard. Every one of these women is volunteering their time to help this charity take off, and I really appreciate it. I am so grateful. Every single one of these women inspires me beyond belief, and I am just so honored that they are speaking at my first summit that I'm putting on. So if you are interested, please check out the show notes and sign up. It's a 3-day summit happening October 19, 20, and 21. That is a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It will be a virtual summit happening on Zoom, and it's going to be super interactive. So not only do you get to hear these incredible, inspiring women speak, but you also get to ask them questions and talk to them and engage with them and interact with them. I want this to be a different kind of summit where you're not just sitting, listening, and it doesn't really matter if you're there in the audience or not, but it's actually an actively engaged experience where you are there and where your attendance is so important because it makes everything so alive. And this is what we do as women that is so special, is we do create these communities. We create these connections. And that's what I really want to do. Also in this summit, I've built in some networking opportunities. So we're going to have times during the day when everybody at the summit gets to meet each other and talk to each other, make some new connections, make some new friends. And, if you have a business, maybe you can help each other grow. You can collaborate with each other. If you have a podcast, you may be able to find a new guest. So this networking piece of it is going to be very important as well. Thank you so much for listening today. Please share this episode with friends so that they will sign up for the summit as well. Please make sure you check out the show notes and you sign up for the summit. I'm so excited to see you there. Have a beautiful day. And remember to raise the volume of your voice. I'm listening.